Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So guys, I'll give it 15-20 minutes. Guys, first things first, guys, the new subscribers both here, the podcast and over on TikTok. Absolutely amazing. Guys, second thing, cold happening. There's winter in my part of the world as well. No, there's not support worker down here, guys. If a support worker comes down, I'll have to go pretty suddenly. They are doing a changeover at the moment as well. And guys, I got my decaf coffee as well. The guys, new content that's coming is my life journey, and a much more in-depth one, guys, because it's time for you guys to know. I've been protecting people, and now that the dust has settled, guys, as I said in the short, yeah, it's taken me 8 years to get where I am today. So my basic story is I had a medication that I was on that sent me psychotic, made some really bad decisions under the influence of that medication, got approved for NDIS around the same time I was approved for that medication, thought that would solve all of my problems, then went, no, can't do it. So I spent 2 years living independently in 2 different apartments in Toowoomba. One was good because life was normal. I had a reasonably good care team. We didn't know what a support worker could or couldn't do at the time, which is probably the biggest issue. Then the next one, I moved to unit and COVID hit. Still had the same support teams, but because we couldn't do much, I got into some really bad habits, very bad digital addiction. I know all of us did, but I just didn't bounce back as well. That triggered the FND as well. We figured out I was so over-medicated that I was not entirely in touch with reality, that I was seeing that many medical professionals. It was completely unnecessary. I then changed neurologists and stopped seeing the psychiatrist in favour of a neuropsychiatrist and a counsellor. I also had to move back to the parentals for about 18 months. Then after that, we found the first SIL house that I was in. And then when that didn't work out because of the combination of housemates and support team, we moved into this one. And the question now being asked is, was it actually a good idea putting myself and my housemates together? Because teaching someone sarcasm is not exactly a skill, but it's the politest talking back I have ever seen as well. And guys, I'm doing a long deep dive into media literacy, so I'm in the process of improving mine as well. So guys, I'm doing a no TV for a week challenge, though I am going to give myself a pass, and I might go down and see if there's friends or family watching it. State of Origin is a big best of 3 football game in my part of the world as well, so that's huge. And guys, I'm not feeling as I was. If you follow me, guys, you'd be seeing this as well. On the first day, I was really, really lost. I actually had a support worker remind me that I've got books and books out of the library. I've got study. I can always be recording content because of TVs, not no screens. I've got mobile games. I've got craft I could do as well. But it shows how pervasive TV is. And guys, I would go to sleep with my 2 around me lying in bed, which is not exactly healthy at all. So I think that's why I'm so tired at the moment. I don't think it's a head cold. I think it's just I'm not getting the good quality sleep. So that's the next one that I'm doing is sleep. So I'm improving my media literacy by reading the books that I've recommended, looking at the state libraries, and getting back into reading. It's a big one. Biggest way you can improve your literacy and numeracy, practicing. You said out there that if you're on NDIS or other care programs and have problems with literacy, numeracy, social inclusion, speak. That might be a support coordinator, that might be a parent, it might be a sibling, it might be a planner. Speak up. I can help you. I know my community centre has got literacy and numeracy embedded in it. But the biggest one I say is reading. It can be as simple as a pitch book or a book as well. Guys, Raymond Leafy Slater's book, absolutely amazing, but definitely not for teens. And guys, this is a current rabbit hole I'm going down for research because I do write for some other channels. I can't mention which. But looking at doing an approach, but to myths and legends as well. I know there's other channels that cover it. The thing that fascinates me is the legend of the Fae and the Changeling children, because I have read a legend as that it may be a pre-scientific explanation for children with autism spectrum disorder. And, well, which when you look at knowing someone's name, ritualistic behaviour, it does make a lot of sense as well. That one as well. The other one that's coming is I have permission to do some blog style content because the support worker who I was working with got Hey guys, sorry. Just wanted to say goodbye before handover. And so, guys, I was talking about media literacy. So, the best way I've found to improve your media literacy is to start researching things you're interested in. It could be for school, it could be uni, it could be starting your own YouTube channel or blog. I know blogs are really the done thing these days, unless you're running a YouTube, podcast, TikTok. But definitely is worth looking at as well. So I'm looking at like the myths and the legends. Like as Dr. Jordan Peterson says, there's truth in what they're saying, so historical truth, and then there's, especially in myths and legends, metaphorical meaning. When you look past the Disneyfication of, say, Grimm's fairy tales or Hans Christian Andersen, and look at the original fairy tales, they were never meant for kids. They were morality tales and had embedded psychological truths in them. Dr. Jordan Peterson, in his early lectures around maps of meaning, is absolutely amazing with psychological truth as well. So that's where I'm looking into the Fae and autism, general legends. And one horrific one I know, and I'll correct myself, is looking at leprechauns. St. Patrick. And yes, he did great work, but the original legend of St. Patrick driving the snakes out of Ireland is driving the native peoples out of Ireland, the pygmy peoples that resembled leprechauns. Not the stereotypical cute green leprechaun we think of today, but there is historical evidence of what we would now call ethnic cleansing, which to me is bloody sad. But guys, the other thing that I think we need to look at is how we're doing things with media. Guys, when you're researching and looking at your sources, you'll get better at discerning what's a first degree source, second degree, and third degree source. And looking at the research and looking at the quotes, the citations, the annotations, and even from the money trail of who funded that research. Were they invested in an outcome? Because some books that I want to get hold of is Fast Food Nation. And I once have my self-imposed TV ban is over, I want to watch that Sugar movie again. I'm told Fast Food Nation is a horrific read. I've also watched, and it was a while ago, it was when I was starting to think about moving cell houses. One I watched was Poisoned, which goes into the American food system, the creation of food deserts, and how the cartel in Mexico controls a lot of the food supply over the border, and how they found it much more profitable to control the avocado and the water supply into America, and how America retaliated by growing their own, actually food wars as well. So guys, I'll give it 10 more minutes, then sign off as well. Also coming up, I'm doing a bit more vlogging style content. So we're going to go around and check out little boutiques around Toowoomba and outside Toowoomba that, because of COVID, because of trying to compete with the big box stores, may not be able to, either forced to go online or to offer specific classes. Guys, I've noticed that they've got things that if you're self-funded for 18, so if you're self-managed per NDIS, and you know what line items to claim under, a lot of times they'd be cheaper. So things like your wall sheets for hospital beds instead of a Kylie. Things like home aids, so adjustable. I found a little boutique that's up from the Wealth Place near the Baker's Duck in Toowoomba. And it's a little coffee /coffee place with just a cabinet. I don't think they do sit-down meals. And they had a lot of the type products, but really, really good quality sheets, good quality knife, spoon, fork in a takeaway container. All your zero waste products besides your cleaning products. They did have some cat and dog products. Whoever decided wet wipes for cats were idea. I don't think has ever lived with a cat. If you've got a cat that's vomited, that's the only reason I can think of a wet wipe for a cat. So there were very much some joke gifts, but also some really good ones as well. So also doing one, and guys, hit me up at our address, which is all lowercase ANNIE.nunn at nunn123@gmail.com. Always in the description of my pre-recorded content. Is how to keep support workers safe. So I'm not talking about being physically or emotionally abused. I've covered that. But I'm talking about those limits where not snitching. So if someone's having a smoke break outside and their phone rings, telling them that it's ringing, telling them that some alarm's going off, telling them that someone else is needing them, having some noodles or some white bread in the freezer, having their preferred brand of tea or coffee. I know not everyone can afford to do it, but sometimes it's just courteous to do as well, which absolutely amazed at what I hear about the abuse from my own support team. Like, there's a difference between entitlement and abuse. I know in the past, until I got called out earlier in this year, I was very much that entitled participant, relying on the support workers. And then going back to, I guess it, but I'm sure it's going back to exercise physiology. And then physio, then dietitian, realizing that I'm responsible for my life. I'm in the driver's seat. I need to get my shit together. I think also going on respite and seeing the person that if I didn't pick up my attitude, that could become me in 30 years, really catapulted me into building good relationships with friends and family and support workers, getting more social, getting off the TV, getting off screens, and really getting into life as well. So guys, that is amazing as well. Guys, a lot of you guys watch this after the fact. I've had an achievement unlocked for the podcast is that I've had someone want to come on who is doing amazing psychosocial work. So we're just in the email stage. I'm waiting for him to get back to me. But the one thing, hit me up if you're a support worker, support coordinator, want to come on the YouTube. I can make it happen. But if you're talking about people with a disability or people who are under 18, guys, the one thing I ask for is written consent to tell their stories. We don't deserve to profit off people with a disability who can't consent to what they are doing. I know some people change names and stuff like that, but guys, it's so easy to just get a social media clearance form and say, this is how we're going to frame it. We're going to do a success story, or how we can do better as well. I know most people, when they go into Stillhouses, the Access or a day centre, do have to sign a form consenting to social media, or if they're under guardianship or orders, they are then, that's where your guardian slips come into it. And it just helps having a background of trail as well. Even when your list is definitely okay, but guys, consent is such a tricky issue in disability, even such a tricky issue in the broader community. I'm like, yeah, we need to get on top of this. So that's how I protect vulnerable people, is asking for written consent. So guys, I'm getting really busy. I'm going to lay down. I'll see you 12 o'clock next Sunday, unless I've got a family gathering. Guys, there's new content coming out each Tuesday and Wednesday. Sometimes my ADHD will get the better of me, and guys, because I am still experimenting of when to release and thumbnails, and if to include thumbnails, what platforms to publish on as well. So guys, I'll see you next week.